Hello, we have reached the end of this season according to the battery and the watch and the clock and everything here in the YouTube ramen
technical
restaurant.
constraints.
Technical constraints. This has been season 4, and for the last episode, it's interesting. Yesterday, I had the privilege of attending my first ever working effectively with Japanese seminar.
With me? Yes.
With Rochelle from Japan Intercultural Consulting, and it was actually, I've been meaning to attend one of these for a long time. It was really, really great, and I thought that maybe after we've talked about doing Hanseikais and so on, we'd do a bit of a discussion. I can tell you a little bit about what these things are like and what to expect, and we can do a bit of a Hanseikai about how these things go. This is one thing that a major part of what you do for a living when you come out here at these seminars.
Right.
So we're going to do a Hanseikai, a self-reflection session. So first of all, that was really, I gotta say, it was really great. I mean,
glad you enjoyed it.
To come and finally see one of these seminars, and there have been so many people. There have been people who watch this show who have gone out and taken advantage of the HICO 30 promotion code. Yes. For the discount. It's a corporate rate, but it's a rate which might make it easier to sell to your company to go and attend.
Right. People always like a discount. Yes.
Yeah, and. Yeah, and I'd heard all the great feedback, and I knew it was going to be a good thing anyway. But I guess what impressed me the most about the session, I knew you were going to be great. Although at the same time, the level of detail and sort of specific to the teaching and the corporate training aspect was really cool. But what really was cool for me was the people who attend. It was a really good group of people, wasn't it?
I thought so.
Is it always like that?
You know, it really actually is. When we do these open seminars, we get really interesting people showing up. And it's a mix of people, and they learn from each other. It's terrific,
And that's the thing. I mean, I guess I was expecting Rochelle to be teaching us all her corporate wisdom as we do on this through this video in a one-way
It's
format.
just in a lot more detail, and it's longer.
But what I loved about it was, and you know, as you know, I think I know everything sometimes, so I always want to jump in and contribute with my view. And I have this in the back of my head that I'm thinking I need to hold it back because I'm going to want to share, talk all the time. But I came in and I found people there I come from a perspective of internal working within a company and maybe advising people. But we had people who had worked on negotiating on behalf of foreign suppliers. We had an HR guy, we had a sales guy, and they all have really unique takes and experiences.
Yes.
And so every point that Rochelle's got great points and illustrations, but the way that people could flesh that out.
Right. Which is how I like to facilitate, because I like to draw on the knowledge that's in the room and have the people in the room share with each other and learn from each other.
Yeah.
Because it's not just me standing there and talking to people.
Yeah.
You know, what makes the seminar great is the interaction among the participants.
Yeah. And that's it. I must admit, I was expecting the participation would be, break up, go to different tables, have group exercises, which we have. But it was consistent. It was very organic, I thought. That people were, again, the topics are naturally interesting and people really have things to contribute about them. And I was sitting there like, whoa, yeah. I mean, that person has really interesting experience and that person's perspective is fresh and new and like, wow, to me. I guess the other thing is that people who would participate in a seminar like that, there is a certain degree of commitment to wanting to either being involved in situations that require that knowledge or having it and so on. So you've got people who are very deeply interested in the subject matter. Right. Which also just makes them interesting. I mean, they'd be like super fans, I think, of this sort of thing.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And frankly, but the people that we had yesterday, there were like 4 or 5 other people there, would be people you could swap me out and just do a whole series just with them, and it would be
really very interesting.
It would be fresh and it would be just as interesting. So yeah, I mean, so from your perspective, from a Hansei perspective, how do you feel it went?
Well, you know, I felt it went really well. Yeah. Yeah. So it was a slightly smaller number of people than we usually have. Yeah. So it would have been fun to have even a few more people to make the discussion a little bit richer too.
It was about 15, I guess, or 20.
I don't know. It was about 10.
Okay.
Yeah. So I 15 to 20 is a really even nicer number because you get even more people. But we had a slightly smaller group this time. Yeah.
Well, having done it myself, and I mean, I must admit, this is another thing. I thought maybe it would be like this. It would just be like Japan Business Time is a seminar. It's not.
Well, yeah, no.
It is, and it's
a little more structured.
Yes. Well, this is YouTube. We just flow. We go with it.
Right. Yes. No. A seminar has a structure to it, and that's part of the point because what I try and do is give people a framework. Yeah. that they can fit the experiences they've had so far into the framework, but then they can also apply it to future situations. So you have a set of tools. Because the thing is, culture is kind of this mushy, smushy thing. And so I try and find a way to kind of make it a little bit more rational.
And that's it. And for me, I've never had these tools, and I've never had the initiative to create tools like you have. So I've all been mushy, smushy on everything, figuring out through bruises and through small successes and putting it all together over 17 years. And that's how we have these conversations.
Right.
But what you do professionally is you take all of that mushy smushy, as you say, and you make them into tools which are very, you illustrate why this tool works and how you use it, and you put out there. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, that's right. So I personally, having done it, if you're working in Japan, and you can, I really can't recommend it enough as a set of tools. And great job. I mean, so look out. Whenever Rochelle is in Japan, she announces, and I'll forward the announcements.
Right.
Yeah, good job with that. So.
Okay, thank you. Well, thanks for joining us. Yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed it too.
I did. Okay, so hang around. We'll be back for another season. Remember to leave your requests for topics for the next season in the comments of this one. And yes, we'll be back for another season when Rochelle next comes back to Japan. So I hope you enjoyed this one after hours.
Right.
After work.
Yeah, so one more kanpai.
One more kanpai. One last glass. Drink.
Yes.
Peace. And that is the memory card that is gone. Okay.
Okay.
And people are knocking on the door and telling us to get out. So
okay, well, we better go. Okay.
Yes.